Hello, everyone. I all hope you enjoyed your great, wonderful, blessed morning indeed, guys. As you can see very well, guys, today's weather is very quietly sunny and also, but still very quietly frightening, very much quietly, still very much quietly frightening, cold and very much windy and freezing as well compared to yesterday, which was quietly raining over and over and over and over the whole day from until the afternoon until today as well, as you can see, guys, for yourself. Guys, I'm so very much quietly grateful for your guys' support and for you guys staying with me on my journey from YouTube and from TikTok, and especially from Shorts, and from those of you who are also subscribing, and from those of you who are also as well following me as well. Completely means a lot to me as well. Please continue to support me, and please continue to stay with me on my journey as well, as I'm also rooting for you guys as well in your guys' journey. May you have a blessed, grateful week as well, guys, and enjoy yourself as well, guys. We have 3 days of shooting 3 episodes. I mean, we actually have 2 days of shooting 2 episodes left, from which is Thursday and Friday as well, which you'll be able to see as well. But regardless of that, guys, I'm still very quietly grateful. Please stay with me on my journey, and please stay with me on my journey, and have a blessed week and a great day indeed, guys. On today's episode, we're to speak about Over Sister, who is a defector, of the most powerful ancient, one of the most powerful ancient witches known as the Dark Sisters, which I exactly specifically told you about. That within the Dark Sisters, they are powerful ancient hybrids of their own kind, known as the Light Sister. Over Sister is quietly the different of the two opposite of the most ancient species of the Light Sisters and of the Dark Sisters as well. She's very powerful, and very powerful, and very powerful, and very committed to the mission as well. And she also very much quietly defected from the Dark Sisters within the following years as well, and she became a full member of the World Heroes, who exactly bring hope and inspiration towards humanity, towards the superhuman community, and to the alien race, and to the supernatural race, and to the rest of mankind, and to the sacred world, and to the known universe, and to the sacred universe as well, and to known worlds, and to known planets. Despite all of this, she literally believes in the World Heroes mission, in their true job and purpose in bringing inspiration towards humanity and towards the entire known universe, and she's willing to help them restore balance and peace towards humanity, and especially within the sacred world as well, because she believes in their goals and in their true missions as well. So let's get started. In Over Sister's early life, over Sister's early life, she was quietly a part. She was quietly a full Dark Sister within the primordial stages of her life, where she and the rest of the new generation, of the most powerful Dark Sister witches were quietly trained in order to harnessing the powers of dark magic abilities, and the powers of the dark magical abilities, and of the powers of the dark arts, which they were systematically able to do as well. During which, in those years, she was quietly very helpful within the cause, and within the Coven's cause, within the Dark Witch Coven's cause, and its true primarily missions in them maintaining sole control over many vast, secretive, magical worlds, kingdoms, and colleges of witches, druids, and wizards and warlocks as well in the process. Despite that, she exactly believed that their goals were very much quietly the answer to everything else, as she still maintained her belief and her philosophy through the goals of the Dark Sisters as well. Over the following years, the Over Sister exactly remained fully confident over the goals and everything else, and still remained committed to its true missions and purpose, when she fully heard of the first defectors, of the other greater ancient defectors of the Light Sisters, starting with the other previous Light Sister who defected from the Dark Sister, and started to actually see her as a traitor, and also as a greater abomination to the Dark Sisters, full nature of their powers. And throughout the following years, she also heard the great mischievous rumors of another ancient defector known as Cassandra Light, who became one of the most powerful light sister witches ever known to exist, and who was also defected from the Dark Sisters. Throughout within the following years, Over Sister exactly remained confident and still remained highly observant over the event that beginning exactly taking place as well. Within the early years, the new generation of the Dark Sisters began exactly projecting and shadowy astral projections, projecting a shadowy astral projections of themselves, where they can easily conceal their identities, but their faces and their bodies and their eyes still remain the same, and are all exactly reconvening on a dark, mysterious cave on that very day. They all exactly spoke about the first step of the mission and about its goals and about its true proposition, while Over Sister remained completely silent and highly obedient in listening to every step and every plans that the sisters are literally beginning to orchestrate from the very, very first day of the goals as well. Within the following years, Over Sister exactly went into the Grand Crystal Canyon worlds and planets and civilization, where the Dark Sisters and the other numerous dark magic users created monstrous creatures of abomination through their dark experiments in order to keep in the creatures and monsters highly in the hibernation, highly in the hibernational state, where they can exactly rest up and be ready to be activated, so that when they come out of the crystal, they'll be highly to be more powerful. They'll be very much quite the more powerful and more destructive in the new form, in the greater new monstrous form, in a highly gaining which exactly granted them new abilities and new powers in the process. Regardless of that, Over Sister exactly took the mission to her liberty in order to gain more power and more greater knowledge than ever before. Throughout the journey of the crystal, throughout the journey of the grand crystal worlds and planets, she was able to learn about the ancient, legendary, mythical dark deity force of evil known as the Lord of Destiny and the King of Darkness, which they were able to do what the others have failed to do, creating unstoppable powers, creating unstoppable dark forcible powers, and manipulating the elemental forces of dark magic and of dark magic and of energy elements at will, which the other creatures of their kind, which the others of their descendants have completely not been able to do as well. Throughout the following years, Over Sister learned that the King of Darkness manages to crack the final secret that none of his other followers were able to crack, the secret of the Shadow Empire's greatest, darkest secret, that the Shadow Empire formed a sinister ancient organization before the Empire itself was quietly formed, as a way to keep the organization highly secretive and also to concealing it within the very shadows. Over Sister exactly took it upon herself to keep this information and this knowledge to herself, not willing to start an all-out war when the entire sacred universe and the entire sacred world is already quietly at a stage of an all-out war already. Decided that it's best to keep the knowledge and everything else quiet to herself as well. Within the near years, the Over Sister exactly met up with the group of the Dark Druids and of the Dark Witches and the Dark Faithful on the laboratory, on the dark laboratory cave, and exactly told them that all the experiments and everything else have been hereby been exterminated, and they must be hereby been fully to be exterminated and fully to be to be accelerated. Without any other question or do, they must exactly remain off the books, including the ones that have been searched for. The dark magic users agreed on doing that, as they agreed to following every order of each Dark Sister, which was quietly given by them, particularly at any other given cost. Over Sister exactly went to the ancient, powerful Dark Crystal Temple, where houses ancient statues of monsters and creatures and beings that were quietly not exactly mentioned throughout 4 Nation Hunter history and throughout 7 Nation Hunter history, or throughout sacred history, or throughout sacred magic history itself as well. These ancient monster statues were unlike any other of the great powerful monsters that were quietly feared and also revered from as well. She entered within the dark crystal temple, and exactly began conjuring up a powerful conversion powerful energy of conversion of dark magic in order to focusing the entire power of dark magic at its full, precisely by creating a dark skeleton, by creating a dark skeleton, by projecting a very dark skeleton of dark magic that can easily contain the dark magic's powers and its abilities at its radar, which was a dead skeleton of a fossil of a dead monster, where the dark magic power and all of its powers and its properties will be highly to be contained and also to be preserved, as she realized that in due time she might need the power when the time comes as well. On the on the actual 29 of February, the other Dark Sisters, who were the originals, exactly reconvened with the other members of the Dark Sisters on the central headquarters and told the Dark Sisters that the original Lord of Magic has died and that it has created a power vacuum within the entire Shadow Empire, and that in doing so, they must exactly still maintain their loyalty to the Dark Sisters and to the rest of their mission and of their goals, as well as Oversister was also beginning to overhear exactly what was also happening on that particular time as well. On the 17th of March, the new generation of the Dark Sisters began projecting shadowy astral projections of themselves on a dark cave where there were ancient statues of monsters and creatures that were not exactly mentioned in magic's history, in sacred magic's history, or in Formation Hunter history, and the shadowy astral projections were all exactly standing around within the cave itself with an actual yellow candle or an actual yellow light that was quietly lighting up. The other members of the Dark Sisters began exactly considering the positions and the places now that the Dark Sisters are becoming the full high-ranking members of the Order of Power, which is an ancient secret society of supervillains and also an ancient shadowy criminal organization formed and founded and led by the new Lord of Magic known as Lord Jet, who is a protege and a great successor of the original Lord of Magic as well. Despite that, the other Dark Sisters agreed that their plans will now still continue to taking place and everything else will continue to going according to plan, the way it's meant to be and the way it's intended to be, as Oversister, with her shadowy astral projection, remained silent and still listened on what's exactly happening as well. On the 16th of April, Oversister exactly went into her secret crystal room chamber where there was a magical reflection mirror where she was able to look at it from the other side in order to spy on the universal heroes, in order to see how far are they progress exactly going on. But due to that, she was able to also see a reflection of herself as well, which was a beautiful and greater powerful reflection of herself, which was a more enhanced, greater reflection of her controlling dark magic on the other side, with her hands with this hand controlling dark magic on this side, and the other hand was holding light magic on the other side. She realized that she was meant to be powerful, and she realized that she was quietly trapped between good and evil on opposite sides of the warring stages of the war that are about to take completely place as well. On the 15th of May, Oversister exactly reconvened with the other Dark Sisters, on the shadowy astral projection on another sinister dark cave where all of them were able to exactly speak privately despite their identities being concealed, and still their faces exactly remain the same and the eyes exactly remain the same as well. Regardless of that, the other Dark Sisters exactly began speaking about the finalization of their goals and about their plan with the original elders of the Dark Sisters, who are like the grandmas of the Grand Elder Witches of the Dark Sisters, were also able to be present within the meeting, and also telling them that the facilitation of the plan must go on accordingly the way it was meant to be without any further interruptions or anything else, and that it must begin taking place one way or another. And our sister remained completely silent as she began taking notes and also learning more about the orchestration and about the plans as well in the process. On the 20th of May, our sister exactly returned into the layer of the hideout, which was quietly beneath the cities of the which was quietly beneath the cities of the world, where she was able to exactly see all powerful ancient mythical crystals and all type of powers, where the other elderly grandma, where the elderly witch grandma of the dark sister was quietly waiting behind her with a dark mythical wand, and exactly told over sister that it's time for her to play her part and her role once and for all, and over sister agreed to that as well. On the 21 of June, over sister exactly secretly contacted Cassandra Light in order to telling her that the rest of her sisters are planning a sinister attack that could destroy the rest of the sacred magic universe, that could exactly result in catastrophic destruction, and that she told her that she must exactly aid her in stopping the rest of the sister. And Cassandra Light exactly decided to bring backup in order to ensure that this wasn't exactly a trap or any other an ambush planned by her sisters in order to kill her or in order to rapidly remove her out of the way completely. On the 22 of July, Cassandra Light and the Universal Magic Heroes and Universal Magic Girl exactly arrived on the ancient dark magical planet and world, and exactly found it exactly completely ravaged by wars and all of that, and they were still able to detect the essence of dark magic and the negative powers of light magic and of dark magic residuing, still residing within the planet itself as well, and they were able to exactly pick up creatures and monsters that were highly exactly still trapped in the crystal hibernation, in the crystal within the crystals, as if they were quietly resting in the hibernational state in order for them to reawaken again. Due to that, the dark magical users known as the dark druids and the dark witches and the dark faithful were literally hovering on top of them with their dark crystals, literally standing on top of the dark crystal, literally standing on top of the dark crystal, magical dark crystal, magical dark crystal, magical dark crystal things, whatever crystal ships, whatever exactly they were able to tell them, and started to besieging the entire magical dark crystal planet with a dark magic. And the Universal Magic Heroes and Universal Magic Girl and Cassandra Light used their magical abilities and powers to fight up against the most terrifying dark magical forces of all time, and were able to dispel the dark magic in the process without unbeknownst to them. The other dark sisters were quietly present beneath the crystal, beneath the planet's surface, able to activate the most powerful, terrifying crystal weapon within its radar. But due to the intervention of Oversister, who was able to prevent the ritual from being activated furtherly, she was able to foil the plan of her sisters and of the other elderly dark sisters as well in the process, which Cassandra Light was able to sense the presence of Oversister as well in the process. On the 10th of August, Oversister exactly met up with Cassandra Light on the other within the sacred magic cities, which was quietly fully crowded by magical creatures and warlocks and wizards, one of the good ones, not one of the good ones, not one of the bad ones, or not one of the bad ones, or not one of the ruthless, evil, sadistic, annihilatic ideology ones, one of the good ones and one of the best of the greatest of the ones of all. And the entire city was filled with the blue magical skies and rainbows, and magical creatures and animals were quietly flying around, and energy of magic and powerful energy, spectrum of energy of purifying magic of light magic and rainbow magic and blue magic was quietly within the atmosphere of the entire city as well. Despite that, Over Sister exactly summoned Cassandra Light to exactly speak with her within the city's waterfall, so that she can exactly tell her story and explain to her exactly she's been stuck between the forces of good and evil. Cassandra Light exactly told Over Sister that she still exactly see a reflection of herself within Over Sister that was once also quietly believed in the greater cause of the Dark Sisters, and that she decided to defect and break out of it in order to make a greater, remarkable difference. And Cassandra Light exactly still told Over Sister she can still make a difference if she's willing to break out from her own from within from within one of their own sisters organizations and goals and mission, as long as she'll be able to join the sides of great good, not from the sides of greater evil. And Over Sister began to believe in Cassandra as well. On the 10th of September, Over Sister exactly returned to the different base of the Dark Sisters, which was one of the most secretive bases that houses dark crystals and ancient dark mythical statues of one of the most powerful founders of the sacred universe, which was the sacred shadowy which was the sacred shadow founder of the sacred world, and the other sacred founder of the sacred world, and the other ancient ancestor of the Orion clan, and the other ancient ancestor of the Power clan, and the other ancient ancestor of the descendants of the Dark King, who was also the descendants of the Dark King statue, was also residing there, and the descendants of the most powerful warlock and of the most powerful warlord was also able to reside there, and also a different strange statue of an unknown Shadow Empire leader and commander was also quietly residing there. Despite that, Over Sister exactly explained her treasonous action against her people, against the elder, against the elderly, against the elder council of the Dark Sisters, and exactly told her that she's willing to do better in order to execute Cassandra and perfectly exactly remove her out of the way. Despite that, the elders of the Dark Sisters were very much quietly unsure of Over Sister's loyalty and commitment to the cause and to the organization, which they decided it's best not to speak about their plans and about their goals and about facilitating their plans and their goals in the process, rather to keep them quiet and very much quietly closer to themselves as well, not until they see which side is Over Sister exactly colluding with or either siding with as well. On the 28th of 28th of October, Over Sister exactly was quietly listening on a different meeting as the other followers of the Dark Sisters, and the other followers of the Dark Sisters, and the followers of Lord Jet, who is the new Lord of Magic, and the followers of Lord Clay, who is also the new Lord of Magic, began fighting amongst themselves, telling themselves that they all have to make a choice to following which leader and lord that they actually able to decide as well, deciding that the timing that is quietly running out. Over Sister decided it's best that she gathers as much intelligence, as much information she can exactly get in order to aid and abetting the Universal Heroes with their mission and with their goals as well. On the 12th of November, Over Sister exactly went back into the Dark Crystal Planet, Grand Crystal Plan, the Grand Canyon Crystal Cave Planet World, in order to get as much of the crystals she needs and everything else. But before she was able to exactly get as much of the crystals she was able to exactly get, she was about to be killed and about to be destroyed by the other kind of her sisters, known as the other Dark Sisters, who were about to purposely execute her and getting rid of her once and for all. To that end, she was forced to fight up against her own sisters, as they now realize that she is, after all, a traitor, and they decided it's best to execute her once and for all before she becomes a threat. She fought up against them, and she was able to triumph in a battle. Due to that, she teleported herself quietly far away and also returned to a new base of operation, which was very much quietly secretive to the others, very much quietly secretive to the others of her sisters, where they didn't exactly know that Over Sister also had a different basis of operation, where she was also able to keep them quiet to herself. this base of operation was quietly hidden in a distant, beautiful planet of a world where she was able to exactly combine her resources and everything else to herself in order to exactly see where she purposely exactly stand on between the sizes of great good and the sizes of great evil as well. On the 17th of December, our sister exactly remained in her secretive base of operation until she was able to decide for herself which side she's willing to join forces with and which side she's willing to fully collaborate with, where she was completely meditating within her dark crystal chamber in order to exactly decide for herself who is she exactly standing with and who she exactly she's willing to become as well. On the 22 of January, our sister was able to conjure a magical crystal I spy ball in order to see exactly what was happening within her absence. Realizing that the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders are still posing a threat, she decided it's best to finish what she's willing to start once and for all. On the 17th of February, our sister was actually hovering within the other planet's atmosphere when the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders began their full raids on the icy worlds and planets and civilizations of the unknown nations that were literally quietly far away from the fringes of the Four Nation Hunters sectors. They were literally quietly far away from the Four Nation Hunters intergalactic coalition radars and sectors as well. And our sister decided to use her powers and her magic for the greater good. Rather than to exactly destroy them, she decided to actually empower the greater forces in order to fight up against the invaders who are about to begin a merciless raid as well. On the 20th of March, our sister exactly returned to planet Earth in full secrecy in trying to study in trying to study how the human race exactly functions and how humanity exactly works with the superhuman races and with the other alien races, despite that she helped the world heroes in full complete secrecy in trying to taking down the cosmic evil forces of the alien races that were completely abducting and taking superhumans against their will over the following months, which was quietly April and May and also June and also within July. On the 20th of July, our sister exactly returned to her secretive basis of operation, and she discovered that she made a very much of a good work and totally much of a very much of a greater difference. And she decided it's time to introduce herself to the world heroes as well. On the 8th of August, our sister was quietly introduced to the Universal Heroes as Cassandra Light wasn't quite completely surprised as our sister has managed to exactly chose the right path of great righteousness in order to fight for the greater good than not to fight for the greater evil. Despite that, the leader of the world heroes known as Animal Boy told the members of the Universal Heroes that our sister is willing to join forces with them and willing to become a full member of the world heroes, and she's willing to exactly aid them in abetting them with their respective missions and goals to making true difference and bringing hope and inspiration to the entire world and to the rest of sacred existence and to the known universe as well. Universal Man exactly told the leader of the world heroes that they will completely support him, and so did Cassandra Light, who was able to tell our sister that they were also willing to completely support her. But the other members of the Universal Heroes were very quietly skeptical of our sister's intentions, as they still did not exactly completely trust her as well as they actually had to. But despite that, our sister exactly reassured them she's willing to do whatever it takes in order to prove to them that she's on their side, and she's willing to even give them all the crystals and all the intelligence and all the orchestrations and all the information that the Dark Sisters and the members of the Order of Power had begun facilitating a sinister dark plan that could destroy the rest of sacred universe, that could destroy the rest of the sacred universe's creatures and inhabitants in the process, which they could still prevent in a nick of time as well. And they decided it's best to take the information straight away. On the 25th of September, our sister was quietly searching through the ancient archives, when she was quietly within the magic school of fairies and witches and warlocks, where she was able to exactly learn more about the mysterious king of darkness, who is known as the ancient dark deity, king of darkness, who was a very powerful ancient legendary king, legendary force of evil, where she's still able to learn that the king of darkness manages to crack the secrets that the other forces failed to do. Even his descendants were able to do what the other descendants had failed to do in order to cracking the secrets of the powers and of the forbidden powers and energy that they also completely weren't able to also that they were also able to completely not able to do as well. But regardless of that, she continued her researching in order to learning more about the legendary king of darkness, in order to find a way to prove to the others that he's still, after all, alive and still breathingly, still, after all, alive and also thrivingly well. On the 15th of October, our sister exactly was within the asteroid base of the Universal Heroes, as she told the World Heroes and the Universal Heroes that she believes that the ancient dark legendary king of darkness is still after all completely still alive and still highly operating in full secrecy and within the shadows of the sacred world, within the shadows of the sacred world, and within the shadows of the sacred world, and within the shadows of the sacred magic universe, and that his powerful associate and the rest of his followers are still about to reveal themselves in a more destructive and terrifying way. The Universal Heroes and Universal Magic Girl and Cassandra Light and the other original members and founding members of the Universal Heroes told Over Sister that they are well aware that the King of Darkness is still actively alive, but they know that he will return. But before he can exactly return, they still have to fight against the sinister, deadly ancient organizations such as the Order of the Five, Order of the Six, Court of Nature, Sacred Five, the Sacred Circle, and the Order of the and the Order of Power and the Order of Death and Sinister Magic and the founders and the founders as well, and the Unholy Alliance as well, and the Order of the Four, and an unknown sinister ancient criminal shadowy criminal elite organization, which there are many more groups and sinister powerful groups of criminal organizations that are hereby being reformed and being reassembled due to the death of the original Lord of Magic that has actually begun as an inspiration to the other forces of evil, or either exactly has forced the other forces of evil to begin activating the agents and the forces from within the human governments and within the sacred governments as well, which is not exactly much of a good sign for them, which they still have a lot more to go to, and with the monsters of the dark dimension that are still also invading humanity and the rest of the known worlds that are still beginning the wars and the destructive wars in order to lay waste to the rest of the Four Nation Hunters and to the rest of the other sacred hunters, and they are the only thing standing in the way between humankind and the supernaturals, aliens and superhumans and great powerful Four Nation Hunters and the other sacred hunters from being exterminated and from being annihilated by the great, powerful, mysterious forces of evil, as well as Universal Man was able to tell Over Sister that. And Over Sister began to understand what exactly is at stake and what exactly is literally happening as well. On the 17th of November, Over Sister and the other members of the World Heroes saved quietly a rural urban isolated town from being attacked by alien drones, by random alien drones, in a process where she was able to use her powers and abilities in a very much quite a good way, and she was able to exactly also gain fame, and told a mysterious inhabitant that she's just a superhero and that her name is just Over Sister and then nothing else more. But the other members of the World Heroes exactly told the inhabitants of humanity that she's just a new member and that her official name is, after all, Over Sister. And Over Sister felt completely proud and very happy that she was able to make a difference in saving the town and the rest of humanity in the process. On the 10th of December, the World Heroes and Over Sister exactly saved completely another of a magical world from being destroyed by evil, by four groups of evil random warlocks who were trying to steal the power of the magical crystals, and also trying to obtain it in the process. Over Sister used her destructive use her destructive, negative power of dark magic, which shocked the other members of the world heroes to their core, which was able to dispel the four evil warlocks completely away. The other four evil warlocks decided it's best that they retreat and teleport themselves away, and that they're completely unaware, and that they're completely aware of the obstacle that they're completely fighting up against as well. On the 10th of January, Over Sister explained to the members of the world heroes in the central headquarters, which was a building, which was a huge building, which was quite the huge building, which was quite the huge building on the other buildings, on planet Earth, telling them that her powers were quietly based on dark magic and on the dark arts, and that she was able to find a way to remove the respective properties of dark magic and of light magic, which was rather positive magic and either negative magic, from being used from different way. But despite that, she told the rest of her teammates that she will never use her powers against them or against any of them. The other members of the world heroes completely exactly respected her by becoming honest and telling them about her true origins and all of that. And the leader exactly told her sister that she's officially a member and that she doesn't have to hide any secrets or anything else, and that she will always remain a member due to her redeeming herself and finding herself and her place within the rest of the universe, throughout the rest of the known universe, and especially throughout the rest of sacred existence in the process. On the 17th of February, Over Sister and Cassandra Light journeyed into the Grand Ancient Crystal Chamber, where the great fairy elders and leaders were completely waiting for them in order to study Over Sister's powers and her abilities, when they realized that her powers are completely terrifying and also destructive in a very quietly good way, that she possesses greater positive magic and negative magic in a very, very different way, and that she is also just like Cassandra, but also not exactly as powerful as Cassandra is. Despite that, the fairy elder told Cassandra that it's best that she teaches her the ways to controlling her powers and utilizing positive magic and negative magic in a very much of a good way, rather not in a destructive way. And Cassandra Light agreed that with the help of Universal Magical and with the members of the Universal Magic Heroes and with the warlock known as Baal, they'll be able to do everything they can in their power to help Over Sister learning to controlling her powers and utilizing them for the greater good. On the 20th of March, Over Sister was quietly completely summoned into the Grand Crystal magical Grand Crystal Chamber, where Baal and the Universal Magic Heroes and Universal Magical and Cassandra Light and the other magical warlocks were all completely sitting down, meditating in order to focus their power and their ability. The Grand Crystal Magical Chamber was quietly founded in a pocket dimension, in a magical, beautiful, serene pocket dimension, where lived beautiful mermaids and greater magical creatures, and warlocks and wizards were all living in peace, where there was a huge, beautiful ocean of magic and powers and islands, and a huge ancient crystal wall of a chamber, where they can also practice their powers and harnessing their abilities in full secrecy. And there was also greater magical statues of the greater previous warlocks, wizards, druids, and witches and fairies and hybrid creatures and unknown hybrid creatures and unknown hybrid creatures and the previous ancient predecessors of the goddess, and the previous predecessors of the goddess of mirrors, the goddess of magic, the goddess of dark magic, the goddess of light, and the goddess of sunlight, and the goddess of destruction, and the goddess of great death, and the goddess of great monsters as well. All these statues were completely residing within the chamber, and the chamber also resided monstrous, unknown monstrous figuring statues of different terrifying, unknown, ancient monstrous statues that are quietly unknown throughout warlock history, and also throughout not exactly completely unknown throughout warlock history, and also throughout druid history and Phoenician hunter history as well. Within that time, Over Sister meditated within the ancient crystal chamber with the other great heroes and the allies as well, able to focusing her powers for the greater good, and discovered that she was quietly making greater progress as well, and that she can also use the other expertise as well in order to utilize her powers for the greater good. On the 20th of April, Over Sister and the other world heroes journeyed into the other planets and worlds that were completely dead and also dying due to the resources being extracted and harvested by the powerful destructive empire known as the Red Empire. To that end, our sister decided to use her powers and abilities to grant the planet's life. She was able to restore the planet's life force and all of its crystals and resources back, and the inhabitants completely thanked the world heroes for saving their dying worlds and their planets, and in doing so, they told the world heroes they remain the allies of the intergalactic coalition of the Four Nation Hunters and the allies of the universal heroes and the allies as well of the world heroes in the process. And the world heroes and over sisters and the other members shook hands with the inhabitants. They told them that all they did was for the greater good and was meant in order to protect your planet and also saving it in the process as well. Within the actual of the 25 of May, our sister was still meditating within the very, very crystal world that she saved from being destroyed from further destruction, where she was able to restore it back to its former glory, and the great crystal statues of the previous alien ancestors were able to show up with a flickering light of greater magic powers, which was able to reflect on the magical suns, due to it becoming more powerful and more transmatic. And our sister began to notice that the planet is hereby fully restored to its greatest habitat, and then every bit of ounce of resources has been hereby being restored to its greatest inhabitants, and she will ensure the inhabitants that she'll continue being there for them and also working and serving them in the greatest and the most greatest compassionate way ever known to them as well. On the actual 28th of June, our sister was quietly within the basis of the operation of the World Heroes, where the leader of the World Heroes told the rest of the team that their most terrifying mission is for them to take out Mr. X and to literally prove to the public that he is an evil sadistic man who's only pursuing his evil agenda and his goals for world domination and for controlling humanity to furthering his goals, and that all they have to do is find a way to expose him. Warboy exactly interrupted the meeting and told Animal Boy that'll be the biggest mistake, because Mr. X is one of the most powerful, high-ranking members of a sinister ancient criminal organization known as the Founders. It'll be unwise not to go up against them, rather to lay low and gathering as much information and intelligence against them before they can make a very, very, very extreme, drastic move, which will result in a permanent demise, as they all began to agree on that as well. On the 28th of July, our sister continued to meditate completely silently in her room, trying to focus her powers and her abilities very quietly well, and she was able to discover that she's able to tap into negative magic and also as well into positive magic as well. And she was able to be very thankful. To that end, she was able to enter a sinister memory of her previous childhood life, where she discovered that her parents were also one of the most powerful, greater magical beings ever known and ever unseen. And she began to exactly ask herself, where is her secret origin lies, and where does she exactly come from? And that she's very much well aware that she's a dark sister. But to that end, where does she actually reside from? Which line or creature inhabitant of the warlocks, of the druids, of the witches does she actually reside from, and what is her true origin as well? Despite that, guys, our sister is very highly observant. Our sister is very highly observant, and very highly keen-minded and open-minded with everything else that she does. She believed in the Dark Sister's goals and obligation for many years throughout her following early life. To that end, she had to defect from her sisters and from the rest of her coven, which resulted in her being a traitor to the rest of her people. And the Dark Sisters don't exactly take it lightly when one of their own exactly betrayed them. Despite that, our sister exactly showed the rest of the other Dark Sisters they can still exactly change their ways, but the others refuse because they believe in the original ways and in the new ways that they're actually taking the organization's goals in a very dark, mysterious way. Regardless of that, our sister remained loyal and highly committed to the World Heroes mission and to their goals, as she began to exactly care for one of each members of the world heroes, and she began to exactly see them as brothers and sisters of her family, as well as the members of the universal heroes, where she began to also see them, perceiving them as families and brothers and sisters of her family as well. Despite that, she shared a very she shared a very much quietly of a deep, touching connection with Cassandra Light, since the two of them exactly share a common, since the two of them exactly understand each other's paths. They understand each other's paths. They literally understand each other's paths, and they understand each other's paths and of their past, since they very well quietly know well what it's like to be known to be a traitor, and also to be known to be a defector from one of their sisters, from one of their own sisters' people, and one of their kind as well. Regardless of that, Over Sister is very highly skillful in dark magic and also in light magic as well, granted with the power of opening portals, the power of convergence, the power of teleportation, the power of shape-shifting herself and changing her appearance at will, and also with the power of telepathic communication, the power of also projection, of creating an shadowy astral projection of herself as well, and also with the power of summoning, resurrection, creating dark magical orbs of light magic and of dark magic as well, and the power of studying and the power also of telekinesis, mind control as well, and the power of levitation at will, and also with the power of synchronizing technology and of dark magic at will, which was able to learn through the experiences of the other dark sisters, were able to tell her how to utilize her powers in a very dark, mysterious way, which you can conjure astral projections and images inside someone's mind, and she can also read someone's mind, and also she can read someone's mind and also look into their minds straight away, which has been revered as the most powerful dark sister among the rest of her sisters as well, due to her powers being highly transparent and highly primordial as well. Due to that as well, she also has the power of magnetic repulsible attraction, which she can also do as well at will, and with the power of focusing dark magic and negative magic at will, and also conjuring dark magical lightning powers, and with the power of utilizing blue magic and rainbow magic and light magic at will as well. She's very highly intelligent, very highly resourceful, and very highly resourceful, and very highly obedient and trustworthy with the plans of the world heroes, and she completely believes in the goals of the world heroes and of their true mission, and she's willing to tell the universal heroes of the goals of the members of the Order of Power and about their sinister plans and their full collaboration with the other sinister ancient organizations that they managed to actually form alliances with. She's very organized, very well independent, and very well independent, trustworthy, she fully trusts her gut instincts, and she also quietly believes that she's trapped between the forces of greater good and evil, not knowing exactly what her origin is of her birth, parents, and mothers. But the other elderly dark sisters were able to tell Over Sister that her mother was also one of them, and also was quietly revered one of the most powerful dark sister witches ever known, and that her father was also one of the most powerful dark warlocks ever known throughout warlock history. Through that end, Over Sister quietly believes that she is also powerful, and very, very highly powerful as well. She's very, very skillful in combat magic, the power of resurrecting an entire planet, very resourceful, very good, kind, loyal, and also very, very open-minded and highly observant, and very good in trusting her gut instincts and seeing things when they're not in place the way they are supposed to be, and very good in maintaining her individual bases and her secretive hideouts, which are quietly scattered within the sacred great nations of the sacred worlds. Within the sacred great nations of the sacred world, some of her hideouts are quietly, literally ancient laboratories which are beneath the forests, where houses ancient monster statues and snake statues of different ancient monsters that are quietly erased from sacred history, and erased from sacred history's wars and battles and conflicts throughout over the centuries. and her other central headquarters is the Universal Bases Asteroid Base, and the Universal Heroes and the Universal Heroes bases of operation, and the World Heroes' bases of operations. Well, she's very good in studying, and very good quietly learning well that the legendary ancient king of darkness has unlocked sinister supernatural dark abilities of his own, and that his descendants and his followers are still highly actively alive. And she also quietly believes of the legendary ancient Lord of Destiny and his organization are still highly operating within the shadows of the sacred universe and of the shadows of the sacred world, which makes them highly dangerous and very, very powerful. She knows the story and the ancient story of, she knows the ancient mythical story about the great sacred shadow founder who was once trying to ravage and create all destruction throughout the entire sacred universe during the age of the Omega, during the age of the Omega wars that the ancient Omega founders began against the other sacred founders. During the past few millennia, ancient wars before sacred history and all other history wars were ever recorded as well. And she's well aware that the ancient legendary Lord of Destiny and his followers and his members of his organization are still highly active, and the rest of the agents and the rest of the slippering agents and of the forces are highly still also in the shadows. And she took it upon herself to study these ancient forces and these ancient forces of evil and these ancient organizations of super criminals and of super villains, to learn about their sinister plans and goals in order to inform the Universal Heroes and the Foundation Hunters of the Intergalactic Coalition. Very beautiful and very kind, loving, caring, trustworthy, trust her instincts as well. Very highly 12th level intellect and also extremely intelligent, very resourceful, and very, very, very obedient, and also very observant and very key and open-minded in everything she does, skillful in dark magic, possesses the power of super speed, darkidity, in super speed, and also darkidity in agility, in super agility, and also super strength, the power of teleportation, the power of conjuring of dark magical powers, synchronizing and integrating dark magic with technology, which she was able to do through her past life, due to her being fully in cooperation with the Dark Sisters, who are known as the ancient benevolent dark witches of all sacred history as well. Due to that, she's gained experience and she's gained knowledge and she's gained determination to unlock every secret forbidden technique, which she was able to master with ace, the power of fire energy, wooden energy, water energy, lightning energy, and the power of stealth energy, disappearing, reappearing at will, and also the power of mastering shadows and darkness at will, which she can also access, and the power of light magic, creating bright light magical powers, and a power of crystal magic, which she can shapeshift her body and morph into as well, creating a powerful light projection of herself, which is powerful enough in order to decimate and remove the monsters of the dark dimension completely. She's very powerful and very resourceful and very kind and very loyal to the allies of the Universal Heroes, and very trustworthy with their secrets and with their plans and with their goals as well. Well, guys, that's it for today's episode. Today's episode was about Oversister, who is a superhero and a member of the World Heroes, and she's very, very, very committed to the World Heroes mission and goals as well, and to its true purpose. Regardless of that, she's very resourceful and very, very kind and very, very loving. Anyway, guys, enjoy your day today, which is a blessed day. It's still quietly cold and windy and very much quietly freezing within, as you can also see for yourself. The sky is quietly beautiful and all of that. But regardless of that, guys, I'm still superly grateful for you guys' support, to all of you, as in literally all of you, from YouTube and from Shorts and from TikTok, all of you who are following me and all of you subscribing. Thank you all. Love you all completely. Have a blessed, wonderful week. I'll see you tomorrow on Thursday, and take care of yourself, and may God bless you all and protect you. Enjoy yourself and enjoy your day. See you tomorrow. Bye. Bye. Bye.